You've redecorated this room 3 times in the past 2 years. New throw pillows, a gallery wall you spent 2 weekends on, a rug you saw on Pinterest and waited 6 weeks to arrive. And yet, at the end of the day, you still sit down in that beautiful room and feel wired, restless, like you can't actually exhale. Here's what no interior design channel will tell you. You haven't been decorating for your nervous system. You've been decorating for the algorithm. And those are two completely different projects. Today, we're building something different. We're not staging a room for photos. We're engineering a corner that your brain can actually use as an off switch. One corner, one quiet zone. And it might be the most important design decision you make this year. Let's be honest about what 2026 actually feels like inside your home. The average American adult now receives over 80 push notifications a day. 80, that means your brain is being asked to make a micro decision, ignore this or respond, roughly every 11 minutes of your waking life. And your living room, the place that was supposed to be your sanctuary, has become the epicenter of that noise. The television is on as background sound even when no one is watching. Your phone charges on the side table, screen flashing every few minutes. The overhead lights are bright enough for a grocery store. Neuroscientists call this chronic sensory overload. And what it does to your nervous system is not subtle. Your cortisol, your primary stress hormone, stays elevated. Your body never fully shifts into the parasympathetic state, the rest and digest mode that it needs for real recovery. You feel tired, but not sleepy, drained, but not calm. And no amount of new furniture fixes that, because the problem was never aesthetic, it was neurological. What you actually need is not a new sofa. What you need is a space your brain knows is safe to power down in. That's what we're building today. And it starts with finding the most overlooked real estate in your home. Before we talk materials, I want to share something that environmental psychologists discovered about how humans naturally process a room. When you walk into a living space, your eyes move to the center first, to the television, the coffee table, the main seating. Corners register as peripheral. They sit just outside your active attention, and that's exactly what makes them powerful. Research in environmental psychology shows that humans feel most psychologically safe in spaces that offer what's called a refuge prospect balance, a spot where we can see the room without being in the center of it, where we have a sense of shelter at our back and openness in front. A corner, architecturally, is a natural refuge point, 2 walls behind you. The room in front of you. Your nervous system registers that as safe, protected, no threats approaching from behind. Couple that with deliberate sensory design, and you have something that isn't just a nice reading nook. You have a physiological reset station built directly into your home, so let's build it. Layer by layer. Layer 1, what your skin feels. We start with touch, because your nervous system registers texture before your eyes even finish scanning the room. The goal here is simple. Remove every surface that feels like a device. Cold glass, hard plastic, slick metal. These are the textures of your phone, your laptop, your television remote. Your brain has learned to associate those sensations with alertness, task switching, doing something. We're replacing all of that with what I call the texture gradient. Start with a heavyweight stone-washed linen floor cushion or low-profile chair. Not an upright chair, something that lowers your body's center of gravity. When you physically drop lower to the ground, your body interprets that as a signal to slow down. It's not metaphorical, it's a measurable shift in muscle activation patterns. Layer on top of that a thick wool or organic cotton throw, something with weight and warmth. There's a reason weighted blankets became a billion-dollar industry. Distributed pressure on the body activates the same proprioceptive response as a hug. Cortisol drops, the nervous system downshifts. Every surface your skin might touch in this corner should communicate the same message. You don't have to do anything right now. Layer 2, what your eyes see. Now we move from touch to light, and this is where most people make the single biggest mistake in their home environment. The overhead light in your living room is almost certainly working against you. Standard LED overheads emit a high concentration of blue wavelength light, the same frequency that your brain uses as a primary signal for daytime wakefulness. Every hour you spend under that light after sunset is telling your circadian rhythm, it's still noon, don't wind down yet. For your quiet corner, we're eliminating overhead light entirely. Replace it with a single dimmable floor lamp, positioned slightly behind and to the side of your seating, never in front of your eyes. Choose a bulb with a color temperature of 2200 to 2700 Kelvin. That's the amber range. Sunrise and sunset, the light your brain has been calibrated to recognize as day is ending begins slowing down. If you want to go further, and I recommend it, add a single beeswax candle on a low surface nearby. The micro fluctuations of a real flame produce what researchers call a pink noise light pattern. Your eyes relax trying to track it in the same way your mind relaxes to the sound of rain. You've now told your eyes, this is not a workspace, this is not a screen. This is a place where nothing is demanding your focus. Layer 3. What your ears hear. Here's something most interior designers never mention. Your living room is probably one of the most acoustically harsh spaces in your home. Hard floors, flat walls, glass surfaces, every sound in that room bounces and reverberates. The sharp echo of a closing door, the tinny notifications from the kitchen counter. Your brain processes every one of those sounds even when you think you've tuned them out. It's called involuntary auditory attention, and it's a continuous, low-grade drain on your cognitive resources. 2 interventions work here, one architectural, one biological. For the architectural fix, install 2 to 3 minimalist acoustic felt panels on the walls flanking your corner. They don't need to look industrial. Contemporary felt panels come in muted earth tones and genuinely improve the aesthetics. What they do is absorb the high-frequency reflections that create room harshness. For the biological fix, add a plant. Specifically, something with broad, irregular leaf structure, a peace lily, a monstera, a sansevieria cluster. Plants don't just purify air. Their organic geometry interrupts the straight lines and right angles of a room, which your brain registers as a shift from built environment to natural environment. That shift alone measurably reduces physiological stress markers. The reframe, sensory engineering, I want to pause here because what you've just built is not a design feature. Interior designers will stage a corner like this and call it a reading nook. Lifestyle brands will photograph it and call it a vibe. And that's fine. But that's not what this is. What you've built is a sensory engineering project. You've used texture to signal the body to lower its physical guard. You've used light to communicate to your circadian rhythm that the active day is over. You've used acoustic dampening to reduce the involuntary cognitive load your brain carries in a reflective room. And you've introduced biological geometry that your nervous system is evolutionarily wired to find calming. This corner now has one job, not to look beautiful, though it will. Its job is to give your nervous system a location it can walk to and immediately begin to downshift. That's a different kind of interior design. And once you experience it, once you sit down in a space that was built for your nervous system instead of your camera roll, you will find it almost impossible to go back to decorating any other way. The ritual layer, the physical build is complete. But there's one more layer, and it's the one that makes this corner actually work. Long-term ritual. The brain is a pattern recognition machine. Every time you perform the same sequence of actions in the same location, you are reinforcing a neurological shortcut. Over time, your nervous system will begin to downshift, not when you've been sitting in the corner for 20 minutes, but the moment you walk toward it. So build a simple entry ritual. 3 steps is enough. First, the phone stays outside the corner. Not face down next to you, outside it, on a side table, in another room. The physical absence of the device matters because your brain cannot fully enter a rest state while holding an object it associates with demand and response. Second, choose one analog anchor. A physical journal with a pen you actually enjoy using. A book, an actual book, paper pages. Something that requires your hands and your attention but generates no notifications and carries no algorithm. Third, light the candle or dim the lamp to its lowest setting. Whatever your single lighting cue is, make it consistent. One action repeated every evening will become the neurological trigger that tells your whole system, we're done now. We made it through another day. This part is ours. Here's what I want to leave you with. The world outside your door has been engineered, deliberately, expensively, by some of the most sophisticated behavioral science on the planet, to keep you in a state of continuous partial attention, to make sure you never fully arrive anywhere, never fully exhale, never fully come home to yourself. This corner is your counter-architecture. It's not about aesthetics. It's not about minimalism as a trend or digital detox as a wellness brand. It's about reclaiming one small piece of your own nervous system, one corner of one room, and saying, this part is not for sale. This part is not optimized. This part just gets to be quiet. You deserve a place in your own home that asks nothing of you. Go build it.